morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to SHR Product Updates, What's New? I'm Jason Manis, and I'll be your host. Two truths to frame our time together. Hospitality is in motion. AI, distribution, and guest expectations are shifting fast. And SHR is in growth mode. We're now part of Access Hospitality, which brings more resources, more integration, and yes, some change, but the good kind. It means we can ship smarter, faster, and in a way that actually connects your commercial stack end to end. Today's conversations are about three things: what's new, what's working, and what's next. You'll hear directly from industry and product experts on the SHR team who live this every day. So you leave with practical plays you can run tomorrow. So here's the game plan. Number one, the macro shift, digital marketing in an AI-first world. Kicking us off is Steve Collins from our digital services team. Google's AI mode is changing search. Large language models are shaping how travelers discover, compare, and decide. Steve will show you how to rebalance spend between branded search and Google Hotel ads, how to AI max your campaigns, and why reporting discipline matters as demand redistributes. Number two, the booking journey, from clicks to conversations. Next up will be David Mineo from our product team. We're moving from filters and forms to Agentic AI that understands intent and responds in real time. David will introduce SHR's AI interactive booking engine and our CLP mindset, conversion lift per interaction. So every guest touch has a memorable purpose. Augmentation now, automation next. Number three, distribution, winning in a multi-channel, multi-model world. Sarah Jones from our product team will break down distribution in the age of LLMs. Your content must be consistent, complete, and channel ready, because Gemini, ChatGPT, and the OTAs will summarize you whether you like it or not. Sarah will show how SHR's CRS simplifies multilingual, room rate content, and rate hygiene so you show up clean and clickable everywhere. Number four, loyalty recognition over points, results over hype. Allegra Medina from our product team will get practical about modern loyalty for independents. Fast, one-click join with instant benefits drives signups. Recognition beats complexity. With SHR CRM and CRS, you can deliver member rates, early check-in, surprise and delight moments, plus lifecycle messaging that's actually personal because it's powered by a single guest view. Number five, commercial reality, more with less, but smarter. We'll close the lineup with Kelly Pop from Sales Leadership. Independent hotels are still operating in silos and juggling vendor sprawl. Kelly will share how to make your partners act like one team, why proactive customer success matters, and what's coming: single sign-on, focused reporting, and AI-assisted workflows to cut the busy work and elevate decisions. Expect an engaging, fast-paced session, lots of takeaways. Our goal: you walk away with 3 moves you can make into your 90-day plan. All right, let's get into it. VP of Digital Marketing Services at SHR. We've been talking about this all year, but
yeah, we have.
Yeah. What are some of the digital marketing trends hoteliers should be preparing for? I mean, we're midway through 2025, like moving forward.
Yeah, the biggest trends, there's a huge amount of change happening right across the digital marketing landscape. I mean, with the onset of LLMs and the growth in the amount of traffic that's going through LLMs at the minute, it's still not a patch on what Google have in terms of market share, but it's slowly but surely chipping away. You know, month on month they're growing. You definitely, like everyone I speak to these days, the conversation is coming up now that they're using ChatGPT, they're using Claude, they're using Perplexity. So it is coming up an awful lot more. the biggest changes, the biggest change that's going to happen this year is Google are layering their LLM, so Gemini, into their core product, which is their search product, which is which they've called AI mode. AI mode is going to change absolutely everything, essentially, in terms of how we use Google, how we use, like, Android operating phones now. They're all using Gemini as their kind of default voice tool. So there's a lot of change happening around there. At some stage in the next 12 to 18 months, it's the default search product that Google have, search on google.com, that's going to default into AI mode. At the moment, it doesn't. You have to press the AI mode button, but at some stage it is going to default, and that is single-handedly the biggest change that's going to be happening, and the biggest thing you need to be aware of. What's going to happen there is Google is very much ahead of the game with this change, particularly for hotels, because they already have their they have a very robust and a very connected ecosystem for travel. So flights, hotels, everything, they all feed into the different Google platforms that Google need to kind of house the information. So for hotels, for instance, it's the Google Hotel Center, so not dissimilar to a merchant center that might be used in retail shopping. The Google Hotel Center houses all of the availability rates and inventory. And Google will be using Gemini to reach into that ARI and surfacing that in Gemini results. So so they have a little bit of a they definitely have a little bit of a head start on Claude, on Perplexity, on these other guys, but those other guys are catching up. So the other change that you're going to be hearing, and certainly one that I've seen surfacing over the past couple of months, is MCPs. And essentially MCPs are the translator for information into LLMs and vice versa. So if you have a database of information that you want the LLMs to be connected to and to be using, they need to reach into these MCP servers and pull that information out. So that's going to be another significant change. You're going to hear people talking about MCP servers and how they're kind of feeding into the likes of ChatGPT, because and I suppose the risk is, if we don't, as the technology side of the business, where if we don't do it, ChatGPT is just going to plug into Booking.com or Expedia or Hotels.com or whoever else, Agoda, and they're just going to get the rates and information there, because ChatGPT doesn't care about the commission. It doesn't care about that. It's about surfacing relevant, useful information, and it's so it to the end result for the hotel isn't an issue for ChatGPT. It's the end result for the user. Similar to Google. Google are very focused on user experience as well. So they just want them to have a good experience. And if the kind of hotel industry and hotel tech doesn't react and create these kind of highways into the LLMs, then we're going to be left behind. And it's really important that we get that right, and not get it right, just get it done early so that we're in the game. Because I think we're on the start of a very significant change. I think we're probably 4 or 5 years. It's going to be pretty rocky. There's going to be a lot of change in the industry. We're going to see a lot of market share kind of push and pull out of Google and into the LLMs, and there'll be a balancing, I think, probably in the next 2 to 3 years. So it's really, really important that we're working to be present in all of the different ways that users are going to be engaging with hotels in the next few years. So it's that is I think that's it. That's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
But let's pull it into the immediate need. Like, how can hotels ensure their marketing spend delivers a maximum impact in the coming months?
Yeah. So I think there's been a massive shift towards AI in the last few years anyway, and that has been Certainly for us, it's been transformative, and we've seen not only better results but more results. So it's better average cost per clicks, better average cost per acquisition, better cost per conversions, growing revenue as well. So it's not just so things like running Performance Max for travel campaigns, running demand generation campaigns, and now starting with AI Max. That's all been building towards this new AI first world. And that is, I think, once you're on that path, then you're in a good place. So I suppose there's two things to be looking at. If you haven't started that journey, start it quickly. So it's move quickly or get left behind, because it's AI mode is already launched in the US, in the UK, and in India. So it's already, a pretty big chunk of the planet is already using AI mode. Okay, and it's probably going to be released out to a lot more geos in the next 3 to 4 months before the end of 2026 or 2025, and certainly for the start of 2026. If you have gone down that journey, and all of our customers have gone down the journey of the transition to AI first campaigns, the next step then is to look at how that rebalancing is going to change everything. So if you take the historical revenue driver for all independent hotels for years and years and years is your branded search campaign, okay? And that is when people are Googling the branded name of your property. That's always been it's the stick of dynamite in the barrel. There's the revenue. It's existing demand. It's capturing it. It's not the easy thing to do, but it is the easiest thing to do, I suppose. It is that's going to slightly change, because the travel platform, so Google Hotel Ads, is going to become from early signs and early looks at AI mode, it looks like Google Hotel Ads is going to become a lot more prevalent. It's so where that probably would have been around 10 to 15% of your spend previously, that's going to be redistributing. So there's going to be a bit of a flow back and forth about how much you should be putting into each one, or maybe we should kind of be bringing together as well. You should be looking at both, but so that demand capture piece, it's kind of going to merge into being both Google Hotel Ads and your branded search. So it's that's one way. So I would say if you're thinking about how are we going to recognize that, or how are we going to look at it, monitor it. Make sure that your reporting is good, that you're able to differentiate between the two, and understand that if you are pumping more budget into the Google Hotel Ads, that there's probably a good chance you can take a little bit off the brand, and don't just don't take from the awareness or consideration campaigns, or don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Basically, it's make sure that you're distributing the budget from where it's being I suppose from where it's being pulled from, if that makes sense. So but again, it comes down to working with your digital marketing agency, making sure your reporting is right, that it's robust, that you have the right information to be able to understand where the demand is now being captured. That's going to be really important. And look, that's just a starting point. I mean, realistically, the 2026 is going to throw up an awful lot of questions. It's going to throw up a huge amount of probably concern as well, because it's going to be different. It's not going to be the usual 10 blue links that we're used to. That's just the Google that we all know and love. It's going to change fairly significantly. So it's just a matter of it really is just a matter of monitoring it, keeping an eye on it, working with your agency to make sure that it is in a good place, and it's constantly being looked at. Yeah.
Very good. Always informative to speak with you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
No worries. Appreciate the time. Thanks, Jason.
All right, David Mineo, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about Agentic AI. How is Agentic AI changing the way hotels approach?
Jason, So we think that the main or one of the challenges that the user is having now in the booking engine is what we call the digital decision overload. Is currently the users in the booking engine, they are finding a lot of options. They need to click in one side or other click, do filters, compare prices between different room types. Also in the website, you need to try to find information. You need to visit different pages and so on. So really now we are in this stage, no? And the agentic AI, what can do is to solve that, no? For example, the user just uh, comment or say what the user wants, and then the AI handles all the complexity and deliver the content that the user want, no? And this is the main transformation about how the agentic AI will move into this booking engine or booking process. No, is for example, now all the information that we have from the users is just the interaction that the user is doing in the booking engine, on the website, the different clicks and so on. No, and with this information, we need to try to understand what the user wants. No. Now, with all this AI technology and the large language models and agentic AI and so on, now we could have more context about what the user wants, and then we could really do a one-to-one personalization offer or response for this guest, no? And this is the main challenge. For example, in SHR, we just launched one product that we call AI Interactive Booking Engine. That is a booking engine using AI agentic technology. And one of the key component that we are commenting to implement in this system is what we call the CLP. The CLP means conversion lift profit. It's a word that we invented. But the idea is that for each interaction that the user is doing, what we have is a agentic technology that try to deliver the best answer for this guest in order that the conversion is increasing. And this is the main challenge, is the content and the personalization and the response and so on will be different. So the interaction from the guest also will be different. I think that this is the main difference, and also one of the evolutions that we will see in the booking engine, and this is something that we need to start to think, the technology companies and so on, is that now is the user who is interacting in the booking engine, but the new technology that is coming is the machines will interact with the booking engine. No, we are seeing how, for example, OpenAI launched Operator, how we have new technologies like MCPs, A2A, and so on, that is helping to the different systems can interact between them.
So what practical opportunities should hoteliers consider right now to get ahead with AI?
Yeah, I think that we just came from a moment where we just saw a big innovation of AI. No, I think that we have a boom. Wow, is we are ended a period of time where the AI evolved a lot. No, it was a complete transformation. Now, in my opinion, we are in a new phase or a new stage, that is how we can implement the AI in our business, no? And this is I think that is the current moment. So probably, of course, the AI is still evolving and more innovation, but the majority of the main focus currently is how the people can add all this AI or all this technology in their work, no? Also, we are seeing a lot of studies now, our research about what is the use of the AI and so on. For example, Anthropic just published a study that 40% of the users that they interviewed in US, they are applying AI into their work, no? And then I think that this is the main opportunity for our industry, no? Is also to start to add or to think how to implement and how we can generate value with all this technology in our daily work. No, here we can talk the different or the things that always we are talking. No, is how we can improve the relationship with the guest, how we can do better operations, how we can maximize our total profit of the hotel, and so on. No, and in my opinion, I think that finally we can categorize these activities in two different things. No, one is to augmentate or augmentation. That means how we can implement the AI in order to do our work better, and the other one is automation. Is how the system automatically can do work for us. Probably in the future, what we can see is how now we are using AI more in augmentation, is how we can do the work better. But as we are working more and more with this technology, I think that we will move in a direction that we are, or the AI start to spend more time into the full automation task. No, and I think that this is the main challenge. Also, what I commented before, also I think that the opportunity about AI now is we are seeing new technologies. So the new trend is, I think that the agentic AI is all that currently we are talking and so on. But also we are starting to have a new innovation about agentic AI, is how the different agents or how the AI start to communicate itself. No, for example, we just saw the last year how was launched MCP, that is a framework or a new technology that can communicate agents with other systems. So it's the capability or the capacity to communicate. And this year, for example, Google just launched A2A, that is how agents can communicate between agents. So then the technology is coming here, and then I think that all of us, we need to start to think how we can prepare our technology land in order for these new advances that are coming.
Very good. Always a pleasure to talk to you, sir. Sarah Jones, thank you for joining me.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about distribution. How is the distribution landscape evolving, and what does that mean for independent hotels?
Is just the large language models coming into play, that people are shopping and dreaming through those means rather than just a traditional Google search, whereas even Google is surfacing the Gemini information from all the different booking channels. So it's a whole different way of surfacing up your property and the information about it for guests when they're shopping around.
So what's one strategy or even a feature that helps hoteliers optimize their distribution mix?
So I think the main thing is making sure that they have consistent information, because if it's not consistent across your different booking channels, whether it be the OTAs or your own booking engine, it's going to surface that up, and it's going to be calling that out, that it's seeing mixed information, and it may give people less confidence to book your property. So that's one of the things. Definitely you want to make sure that your information is consistent, possibly more rich on your own direct channels, so that you can get more people linking directly out to those as opposed to an OTA. But it's really just making sure that you're surfacing up the information the customers want to know so they can make that decision. Because hotels will have, the marketing content on their website, their room descriptions, all of that, but it's all going to be summarized back in these other channels. So then they're not seeing it in the same context that you're presenting it on your website. So that's... Mm-hmm.
Within our CRS, you've got a feature set that helps simplify distributing content, right?
Yeah, so within the CRS, we have different content entries you can do for rooms and rates depending on the channels that the shoppers are coming on. In addition, if you're doing different languages, then you're going to want to make sure all that content is going to be translated into all the different languages as well. And we have tools in there to help expedite that, to make sure that there's no delay between loading an offer and getting the content out there. And then the same thing with rates, just making sure that your rates are as straightforward and, market appropriate as possible. That at this point, their guests may not be seeing the rates the way you think they are in your booking engine, in the order that you have them or with the images there, that it's just going to be surfacing back a price point as it does on MetaSearch. It's doing the same with these large language models as well.
Okay. Thank you for joining me. Allegra Medina, thank you for joining me.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Let's talk about your world, your expertise. Let's start off with, why is loyalty still such an important differentiator for independent hotels, even in today's market?
So, reality here, independent hotels, they're fighting against big brands. It's always been true, right? They're sometimes even if they're in primary markets, they're fighting against big brands. The big brands have global programs, they've got bigger marketing budgets, bigger reach, ability to lock in corporate agreements in a rate that independents typically, will struggle with a little bit, because they can do things at scale. And then you've also got the OTAs that are spending billions of dollars to capture that guest, to ensure that the guest is their guest more so than the hotel's guest, which is, kind of a funny thing. But for independents, I think loyalty, or probably better stated, recognition, is one of the strongest ways that they can stand out. And I'm not talking about a big, expensive, like, points program, which is what everybody thinks about when they think of loyalty program. Loyalty today is recognition and relationships. A guest feeling seen will, you remembering their preferences, or welcoming them back in a personal way, or, really taking care of the guest in a way that independent hotels are always been kind of good at in person. That's how they help guests ensure that they're likely to return. So I think that that's where loyalty programs and CRM solutions come in. We always hear the industry, our industry, hotel industry, just nonstop talking about personalization. Personalization is the most important thing, and it's true. But if we're being honest, it's actually pretty rare that you see it well executed when you're going to properties, and certainly independent properties. The big box brands have a cookie cutter method, but even there, it falls short oftentimes when you're on property. The SHR product, CRM product, helps to solve that, because it builds that unified guest profile. It pulls in all the reservations automatically when it's connected and tied into their CRS solution as well. It pulls in all that spend history, preferences, and you have all that data to personalize the pre-booking journey all the way through post-booking journey. So just throughout the whole guest, experience there. This gives independents a guest recognition capability that big brands just have kind of out of the box, but they do it in a way that's more flexible and authentic to the property, which is something that's really important to independents, because a lot of solutions out there, you have a kind of a cookie cutter way that you have to do it if you want to do some kind of recognition, and this doesn't, the solution SHR provided doesn't require that. It gives the properties flexibility to create what makes sense for their individual property, their region, their market. That matters a lot, because you're not trying to copy a global chain. The value is your connection to the place, the local market, to the guests who keep coming back, and then tying that into like the booking engine experience. You support making sure that recognition is flowing all the way through the journey, through the touch points, the booking path, pre-arrival communications, and then on property recognition, which independents are often already pretty good at. But this just gives them more tools in their toolbox, I'd say, to do that well. And it's not just something that's nice to have either. It drives revenue. It's a financial driver here too. So just probably, I think that the research says that up to about 5 to 7 times more cost to acquire a new guest than to retain an existing one. So just the cost of acquisition is much higher. Loyalty members will generate 20% higher average daily rates than non-members. So the revenue that they're going to spend in property ancillary, also on top of what their spend, is going to be greater, because you're transitioning into more direct engagement with those individuals. And what SHR has done with their CRM and CRS solutions together is giving the ability to capture those repeat guests, to reward them, and to engage with them with a lot less effort, helping to build a stronger direct business.
So how can hoteliers use a loyalty program, though I did like how you put it, a recognition program, to attract and retain more guests?
Yeah, so I usually say there's 3 things that hoteliers should do, or kind of break it down into 3 areas. And the first area is to make it really easy to join. If a guest is already booking with you, don't make them fill out this long, horrible form to give you information because you're taking them out of that buying mindset to do so. Giving them one-click easy join options with an instant benefit, like the most common is your member rate or flexible check-in or a value add kind of offer that is only for members. This is naturally supported with the SHR booking engine and CRM that work together, supported natively. So a guest can sign up and get their member benefits without ever leaving the booking flow if that's the desire. And you know, this works. It's known to work. There's a lot of studies out there that show that it works, but programs that have instant sign up and first day rewards see about a 40% higher enrollment compared to those that delay the benefit. So if you are giving them something now during the booking experience, then you're going to have, higher signups. Second, you want to reward in ways that actually matter. It doesn't always need to be points. Second, you want to reward in ways that actually matter to your travelers. It doesn't always need to be points. Travelers care about recognition, things like surprise upgrades, welcome beverages, an anniversary note, early check-in. That these are things that resonate with guests because they're actually adding value to their experience. They're adding value to their experience. So the again, the SHR's CRM and CRS, they support this. They support that recognition. They support, points models as well. But you can run that flexible program that matches your brand and your guest expectations and not be forced into like that one size fits all, which, I already mentioned. Surveys show that 60% of travelers value recognition and the perks that they get throughout that journey more than they do traditional points. And that's exactly the kind of personalization system that makes sense and that makes it possible for independents, because you're not able to compete in the same way with the big box brands for the same thing. So you need to show some kind of value. And the last thing is to keep the conversation with the guests going. So a loyalty program, it's not just getting signups so that you can say that you have a whole bunch of people that signed up for a membership program. It's staying connected to those individuals, encouraging them to revisit, to come back, to engage with you as a property, as a brand in the community, depending on where you're at. That matters, so community engagement. The CRM and the CRS together should power, and in SHR's case, it does, pre-arrival messaging, birthday offers, exclusive promotions, post-stay follow-ups. And because the CRM itself holds that single view of the guest, the communications are always relevant. They're always on brand. They are personalized, and it shows that there's outreach that works, right? So personalized emails generate 6 times more engagement than generic campaigns do. If you put these 3 things together, it's easy to join, meaningful rewards, consistent communication, then there's a key, right? The CRM and the CRS booking engine that SHR provides make it easy and operational. That's just natively available and fully integrated to keep that flow. Giving an independent hotel the tools, and again, in their toolbox, to run a program that's similar to like what the big brands do, so they can compete in the communication space of being able to really engage with customers, but with a lot more flexibility and tied more to what make those independent properties unique. Because we really, with an independent hotel, you're often trying to, or even smaller brand hotels, you're trying to keep your uniqueness. So what makes your brand and your property special and unique? And you don't want to lose that in a cookie cutter type program. So you keep that flexibility, and you turn guests into advocates, and then they just keep coming back, right? Or they tell others about their experience. So even if it's an experiential property where people aren't returning all the time, resort style or something, you want them to share and talk about it, their experience and how they were treated. And that recognition goes a long way there as well.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank
and
you.
Get better.
I know. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
It's all good. Kelly Pop, thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Let's talk about your area of expertise. You talk to hoteliers every week.
Every day.
Every day. What do you think the biggest challenge commercial teams in independent hotels face now?
So I think we've been working through some challenges, and I think we're still in an area of where teams and hotels, independent hotels especially, are being asked to do more with less. And what happens with that is it manifests itself into silos. And what we're seeing is that we're just a bit fragmented, I think, still, after all these years, fragmented a little bit internally. And then when you're looking at the tech stack and vendor partners, definitely fragmented there as well.
Yeah, they in my talking with them over the years, they don't share KPIs. They don't share. So how does a technology that they're using that feeds their KPIs? It's like a total.
Absolutely. I think when we're thinking of who we speak to on a regular basis, we're talking to GMs, but we're getting into the daily tasks with the revenue managers. We're speaking to the marketing managers, the sales leaders, and they all have specific focuses. But I think those that are winning in this space are those where those three disciplines on the revenue, the marketing, and the sales are all well aligned. And I think that comes down to leadership, leadership within the independent hotels, and making sure that those departments are well intertwined, are working towards a common goal. And I think that kind of takes it to the next step of looking at the technology that these groups are choosing. If a marketing leader is choosing a marketing platform, an email marketing platform, and not thinking about how that's going to integrate into the revenue management side of the business and the guest-facing customer experience, then you have two different tech stacks that may never work together, may never speak together. And finding the right mix between those internal departments of that core focus of what's the common goal, making sure those teams are aligned, are going to help you align and create a very focused tech stack to meet that ultimate goal along the way.
A lot of these, to your point, a lot of these hotel groups seem to be running very lean. And there's not a whole lot of time in the day for them. And I think a lot of expertise left after the pandemic, during the pandemic, and maybe they didn't get it back. And so the reliance on a technology partner that can understand their goals, understand the technology they're using, right? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. I think that the value that a focused solution package can bring is invaluable to a hotel, an independent hotel or a group of hotels. thinking about for, how we're set up in the customer success world of having an advocate for our customers, a customer success lead, that's thinking about that ultimate goal. So when you have the right technology working together from the marketing side of the business to bringing in that initial potential guest, the guest-facing experience, the revenue management team of what we're offering in terms of rates and what's available to that potential guest. And then how are we communicating on the back end with that guest? That whole package really needs to work together, and the right technology stack can take a lot of that challenge off for the internal hotel staff. So you don't have to have so many different individual meetings if you have the right partner who sees the big picture and can provide you with multiple solutions along the way. Because in the end, the common goal is the guest and the revenue at the property level.
Yeah. It'd be difficult to juggle 20 vendors versus one or two.
Yes. But we have to think about the right technology as well. Is your technology taking advantage of AI? Are we pulling in all of the right reporting, not just data for data, but data that matters, data that's going to tell a story, and we're looking at that in the right way. We're definitely see a challenge on the hotel level of not having that holistic data that's going to be meaningful to make changes, to shift, to make those decisions, because those things have to happen really quickly at the hotel level. When you have a big group that all of a sudden cancels, how are you going to fill those rooms up? What changes are you going to make? What decisions are you going to make to impact that need in the short term while you're also planning for the long term?
Yeah. And I was talking to one of our clients the other day who used the CRS, the booking engine, the CRM, and the RMS, and he was saying something about like the revenue managers, like he could start to see reservations come in all, 5 at once from like out of nowhere, and it's like this doesn't happen and it doesn't make sense. And so the data, he said, was just like one click away, and then can be easily shared with the revenue managers and the distribution head of distribution to understand what to do next. And and again, I think this is what you're saying, that if you've got a vendor who's focused on nothing but the booking engine, a vendor that's focused on nothing but the RMS, a vendor that's focused on, and maybe you're only using a channel manager, not even a CRS, how do you pull it all together and make it go in the direction that you need to drive revenue?
Yeah, that's a one call to your customer success manager of, this is our need, how can you all help me? And a collective meeting of those key decision makers of the revenue, the sales, the marketing, all on that call, across disciplines, to your vendor partner that can make those decisions with you and make those changes with you. So having those, just that collective conversation, and the more you're invested within a vendor partner, the more they're invested back with you in terms of understanding those goals and understanding what we can do to make an impact. The partnership piece is really significant in this space right now, because if you're only one little tiny area of that vendor partner and all they're focused on is that one goal and they're forgetting everything else, and you've got to call that one person every time you need something from them, and it's not a holistic conversation, then it gets really challenging to manage. There's not enough time in the day to pick up the phone 5 times when you need to make a quick decision to get something done.
Yeah. The other thing that client brought up was the customer success manager for this client, has 20 other clients, 20 other properties or management groups across the US and Canada. And if something squirrely is going on with booking, he's like, booking's not going to pick up the phone when I call, but you guys proactively know these things going on. And it's key because, downtime's a killer, right?
Yeah, I think the benefits that we bring in terms of managing that whole distribution for our customers really is impactful for them. So we can take off some of that heavy lifting we can see what's going on in the space. We can share what's been successful and where we're seeing challenges and how to combat those challenges or prevent those challenges from happening.
Yeah. Wrapping up, and I haven't talked to any of the other folks about this, but in the very near term, our applications are going to be pulled into one single sign-on. And can you give us just a little bit of insight? We're early on. Give us a hint.
Well, we are early on, but the focus is there and the dedication is there, and the urgency is there. So I think we're going to see things come to fruition a little bit faster than what we initially thought. I think the fact that we're utilizing AI and we're taking advantage of the tools and the technology at our fingertips is just going to be benefits to our customers, and then benefit the guest as the end result. But yeah, you're going to hear a lot in terms of AI and product focus and just moving towards that focused technology. So the focused reporting, the single sign-on is going to bring all of your products together, and to our customers' point, one click of having all of that data and all of the information of everything they need at their fingertips.
Very good. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap on SHR product updates. What's new? Huge thank you to Steve Collins, David Moneo, Sarah Jones, Allegra Medina, and Kelly Pop, and to everyone who RSVP'd and joined us live. We'll send a follow-up email with the key takeaways and a link to the recording. If anything sparked a question, don't hesitate to reach out to support or your client success manager. We're here to help. See you next time.